Hello, Rick. Welcome. Welcome those who are joining. How's audio? How's video? How's internet connection? All the usual. Hello, JRF. Hello, Karuna. Welcome. Karuna, are you part of that Dhamma Friends group in New York? Um, they have some loose connection with the Indonesian temple here. But they host their own stuff, and the monks that stay here will often go and do events with them. Hello, Audrey and John. Welcome. Yeah, exactly. We're just giving some time for people to ramble on in before we get started. Evening, Jayantha. Revo Color. This is a name I'm not familiar with. Maybe I know you as a different name somewhere else on the internet. Welcome. Hello, Marco. Welcome. Your first time here. How did you find out about the channel? Do we know you through the Discord, or you just randomly found us on the internet? Yeah, Karuna. The reason I ask is because there's one gentleman who's part of that who comes here, and probably I'm only here 2 more weeks, and one night in those 2 weeks I'm probably going into the city proper to be at one of their events. Marco wanted to ask about the Discord. Well, at the end of this, I give the information on how to join the Discord. If you have to leave before the end, just say it, and I'll shoot out the email real quick. But don't want to get involved in that right now. We're just about to start. Hello, Yankee. Welcome. Yeah, Sundays are good times to visit here. Sunday, just kind of like Empty Cloud has their thing, like the Dana and then the talk afterwards and all that. That's what they have here every Sunday. I did the talk, and then I did the hour and a half of Sunday school with the kids. All right, I think we can get started. Let's share screen. We'll do our introduction. It's already 1 a.m. where you're at. Let's see. So you're somewhere Middle or Eastern Europe, I assume, or Spain from that. I don't know Spain if it's 1 a.m. in Spain yet. Maybe España. Okay, but anyway, we will. Oh, you watched my video about anatta. That is a weird thing. Oh, you're in Italy. Oh, okay. You probably don't know that my mother was born in Italy. 75% of my family ancestry is from Italy. But Revocolor, that is such a weird video. That is the only video that I've ever made on, well over 10 years of YouTube that actually went somewhat viral. It's quite weird that if you type in anatta on YouTube, I'm on the first page, like with the Dalai Lama and all these very much more senior monks. And there's my video on anatta. I have no idea how the YouTube algorithm just like took it and ran with it. Uh, but no, I'm glad that that video, brought you here. All right. So let's share screen and get started. We always start Dhammapalooza with a little bit of chanting from the Maggasekha chanting book. Tonight we're going to chant about how the creatures of the forest don't want to harm us. Anda Paritta. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Virupake hime mettang mettang erapate hime. Chabya putte hime mettang mettang kanha gotamake hime cha. Apadike hime mettang mettang dvyapadike hime. Chatupade hime mettang mettang bahupade hime. Mamang apadiko hingsi. Mamang hingsi dvipadiko. Mamang Chatupado Hingsi, Mamang Hingsi Bahupado, Sabbe Ba Satta, Sabbe Pana, Sabbe Butta Chakevala, Sabbe Badrani Passantu, Makanchi Papangagama, Appamano Buddho, Appamano Dhammo, Appamano Sango, Pamanavantani, Siring Sapani, Ahi Vichika Sattapadi Unabi Sarabu Musika Katame Rakka Katame Paritta Parikka Mantu Buttani Sohang Namo Bhagavato Namo Sattanang Sammasambuddhanang. All right, English. The protection of loving friendliness. There is metta from me for the Virupakas, for the Erapatas, there is metta from me. There is metta from me for the Chabyaputtas, for the Ganha Gautamakas, there is metta from me. For me, there is metta for those with no feet. For me, for those with 2 feet, there is metta for me. From me, there is metta for those with 4 feet. For those with many feet, there is metta from me. May those with no feet not hurt me. May those with 2 feet not hurt me. May those with 4 feet not hurt me. May those with many feet not hurt me. May all beings, all those with life, may all who have become, all in their entirety, may all see what is good. May suffering not come to anyone. Infinite is the Buddha. Infinite is the Dhamma. Infinite is the Sangha. Finite are creeping things: snakes, scorpions, centipedes, spiders, lizards, and rats. I have made the protection. I have made the safeguard. May the harmful beings depart. I pay homage to the Sublime One. I pay homage to the 7 Buddhas. Sadhu. So there may be some who are not familiar with this. Where does this come from? So this comes from the suttas. This is part of the early texts. And it's a sutta called, if you Google Buddha Sutta by a snake, you'll find it, it'll come up. And it's a sutta that it starts out that a monk died. A monk got bitten by a snake, poisonous, and died. And these monks went to the Buddha and they told him this. And Buddha said, well, if he had pervaded metta to all the 4 great snake lineages, he would not have died from the snake. And so you see that the Erapatas, the Virupakas, those are the 4 great snake lineages listed in that. And so then the Buddha gave them this metta practice. I have metta for all beings with no feet, 2 feet, 4 feet, many feet. Basically, that pretty much covers all beings, right? And then may they also have not harm me. May we not have, a bad encounter kind of a thing. So that's where this comes from. This is a very, very, very ancient reflection. And those of us who have spent time in the woods, spent time in nature, especially in many very vulnerable ways, are quite familiar with this practice of giving lots of metta to the creatures in the woods. All right. Okay, friends. Well, it is Monday night, 7 p.m. New York time, and that means it's time for another Dhammapalooza, the festival of Dhamma with the Maggasekha community. During Dhammapalooza, we do a variety of different activities, and each Dhammapalooza is different because Dhammapalooza is a community-guided event. All the other events I do during the week, we have a specific sutta or a specific topic, etc., etc. But Dhammapalooza is, as always, community-guided. Sometimes Dhammapalooza is just questions and answers. Last week was pretty much just questions and answers. Sometimes nobody has any questions, and it's just reading suttas. Sometimes we do Sutta Roulette, which is a fun sutta game that helps people kind of understand where suttas are, helps you find your bearings in understanding the suttas. Sometimes people have, very rarely actually, does anybody have a topic they want me to give a Dhamma talk. It's quite a rare Dhammapalooza where I give a Dhamma talk. But all of these are possible, right? We just did some chanting. Later on, we'll do some meditation. And what happens in between, we'll see. So for the next couple of minutes in the chat, if you have a question, I see some people have put some level of some question or another in the chat already. If you have a question about anything related to Buddhism, meditation, anything related to monastics, you're welcome to put those questions in the chat. If you have any topic you'd like me to give a talk on, you can put that topic in the chat. If you have a topic you'd like the community to discuss, you can put that in the chat as well. This is a community event, which means that people are perfectly fine and free to speak to each other in the chat, encourage each other, support each other, give each other, links to suttas, these kind of things. All of these are encouraged because this is a community event. And part of Maggasekha is building family. It's building community. Always encourage that people get to know each other and support each other in the chat. Even if you're doing something while I'm talking, it's okay. You're not interrupting me or disrespecting me. That's perfectly fine. So So Marco, where in Italy? My family, well, my mom's family is from Calabria, and my dad's family, which came to America much earlier, is from Naples. So I'm a mix of Calabria, Naples, and some other very small percentage of other European countries. All right. Let's see. Rick's question. During meditation, my body can be relaxed while I still feel stress in the head. What are ways we can let go of the muscle tightness in the jaw, tongue, and the face? Yeah, yeah. This is, but your body's not relaxed then. You mean the body below your head might be relaxed, right? So it's not that the fullness of the body is relaxed. Well, I think when you recognize that, right, to pay attention to that is important. Because I also have like clenching of teeth and things like that. And when I recognize that, I will consistently just make sure I loosen it up. Right? Even if I have to kind of have my teeth a little bit open, just leave it open a little bit, then that's fine. Right? Just so that I can I can stop the activity and then go focus on my breath. And if I notice a little bit later that my teeth are clenched again or whatever, then I just loosen up a little bit and go back to my breath, stuff like that. So that's what I would suggest is to kind of observe what is happening, why it's happening, and then just um, you know uh, loosen it and then go back to the breath and then loosen it again and then go back to the breath, and that's okay. It also, this could also be a side effect of putting a lot of focus on this part of your body when you're following your breath. You start to kind of like maybe even over control your breath, and there's a lot of control issues in that part because that's what you're focusing on, and that's another thing to pay attention to as well. Oh wow, an hour north of Venice. You must have a beautiful mountain view. I went to Italy once when I was young, or when I was just graduated from college, and it's quite beautiful up there in northern Italy. All right. I don't see any other questions or comments or anything like that. So maybe we'll do some. Actually, one of the things that I thought, I was looking at previous Dhammapaloozas, and maybe about what 3 months ago we did a Vinaya Q&A. And I think that could be something that we could do today. If you have any questions about monks' rules and things like that, bhikkhus and bhikkhuni rules, you're welcome to ask those questions. Um, I think we could also do some Sutta Roulette. That might be good to do. Uh, so let's share screen. All right. So how Sutta Roulette works is this. I ask for two numbers, And those two numbers determine the random sutta we're going to read. So this is a website. For those of you who've never been to this website before, suttacentral.net. It's probably the best website for reading suttas on the internet. There's others that are good too, but this has really good ease of use and things like that. Pretty good stuff to, especially for beginners. It's pretty good. So you want to, we will do Sutta Roulette in the, okay, so we want to go to the suttas, right? So you might start out Sutta Central and you see basket of discourses, Sutta Pitaka, that's where you want to go. Vinaya Pitaka is monastic law. You don't need to worry about that, or Abhidhamma. Right now we're reading suttas, so you go to Sutta Pitaka. Hello, Visakha, welcome. And then we have the different collections of suttas. Digha Nikaya, long discourses. Majjhima Nikaya, middle-length discourses. Samyutta Nikaya, the linked discourses, meaning that they are of the same topic grouped together. Numbered discourses, meaning that the different groupings, numbers like the Four Noble Truths, the five aggregates, etc. It's grouped by numbers. And then we have the Khuddaka Nikaya, which is the minor. So I think maybe we will do, let's do Samyutta Nikaya. And so when you click on one of the Nikayas, you'll see that these are translations from different languages, right? And different books. Although they're linked, they're not wholly different. But for our purposes, for the Pali and the English, we always want to just click the first one. So now we have 56 chapters, 56 Samyuttas in the Samyutta Nikaya. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a little block there in the chat. And then I'm not yet, but I'm going to ask for a number between 1 and 56. And then you just type in whatever random number. Some of you who know the suttas, you might want to game the system and hear for something from a certain Samyutta, but we can't, that's not necessarily a bad thing. So, and the first person who comes up, that number, that's the number we choose. And then we reset again and we ask for the same number between like 1 and 80. And then people choose a number. And then those two numbers just determine what sutta we're going to read. So I'm going to ask for the number and then I say 3, 2, 1, and then go. All right. So a number between 1 and 56 in 3, 2, 1, go. JRF comes in with 44. All right. Now, a number between 1 and 80 in 3, 2, 1, go. There it is, 4480. Revo Color comes in the lead. Now, if as we're doing this, if somebody, because of good internet or whatever, keeps getting first place, then I'll choose the second place and things like that. So we spread it out a little bit, but it doesn't happen too often. So we want to go to Sutta 4480. So let's look. You see here, SN1 to SN11, SN12 to SN21, SN22 to SN34. So we keep going down, SN35 to SN44. So this is where we want to be. We want to go to SN44. And it looks like there's only 11 suttas in the 44th Samyutta. So maybe they're small enough, we'll just read them all. Let's see, what's the linked discourses on the undeclared. So I don't think there's 80 suttas here, which sometimes that happens. Some of the samyuttas have a couple hundred suttas and some have very little suttas. Let me see. Yeah, there's 11. So let's see how these suttas go. With Kema. So this is a whole section, a whole chapter on what the Buddha did not declare. And we'll read about this. At one time, the Buddha was staying near Savatthi in Jeta's Grove, Anathapindika's monastery. Now at that time, the nun Kema was wandering in the land of the Kosalans between Savatthi and Saketa. When she took up residence in Toranavatu. Then King Pasenadi was traveling from Saketa and to Savatthi, and he too stayed in Toranavatu for a single night. Then King Pasenadi addressed the man, please, mister, check if there's a suitable ascetic or Brahmin in Toranavatu who I can pay homage. Yes, your majesty, replied that man. He searched all over Toranavatu, but he couldn't see a suitable ascetic or Brahmin for the king to pay homage to. But he saw that the nun Kema was staying there. So he went to the king and said to him, your majesty, there's no ascetic or Brahmin in Toranavatu for the king to pay homage to, but there is the nun Kema, who is a disciple of the Blessed One, the Perfected One, the fully awakened Buddha. She has a good reputation as being astute, competent, clever, learned, a brilliant speaker, and eloquent. Your majesty may pay homage to her. Then King Pasenadi of Kosala went up to the nun Kema, bowed, sat down to one side, and said to her, ma'am, does a realized one exist after death? Great king, this has not been declared by the Buddha. Well then, does a realized one not exist after death? So this is a very common line of questioning that the Buddha refuses to answer many, many times in the suttas, trying to ask if an awakened being exists or doesn't exist, or neither exists or neither doesn't exist, etc. after death. Well then, does a realized one not exist after death? This too has not been declared by the Buddha. Well then, does a realized one both exist and not exist at the same time? It's like Schrodinger's cat from quantum physics. After death, this has not been declared by the Buddha. Well then, does a realized one neither exist nor not exist after death? This too has not been declared by the Buddha. Ma'am, when asked these questions, you say that this has not been declared by the Buddha. What's the cause? What's the reason why this has not been declared by the Buddha? Well then, great king, I'll ask you about this in return, and you can answer as you like. What do you think, great king? Is there any accountant or finger tallier or reckoner who can count the grains of sand in the Ganges? That is, how many grains of sand there are, how many hundreds or hundreds of thousands of grain of sand? No, ma'am. Is there any accountant or finger tallier or reckoner who can count the water in the ocean? That is, how many gallons of water there are, how many hundreds or thousands or hundreds of thousands of gallons of water? No, ma'am. Why is that? Because the ocean is deep, immeasurable, and hard to fathom. In the same way, great king, any form, this is actually quite important. This is actually, I'm going to have to save this sutta because it's actually quite rare that you get a simile like this. And this is actually really good. In the same way, because I usually explain this in terms of the transcendent and the mundane, like you cannot really explain a transcendent awakened being, the state of a post-body transcendent awakened being in conceptual, mundane ways. Do they exist? Do they not exist? Etc. So, but we have this wonderful sutta here. In the same way, just as you can't count something as immeasurable as the number of gallons in the sea, the number of sand in the Ganges, in the same way, Great King, any form by which the realized one might be described exists, not exist, human, not human, etc., has been cut off at the root, made like a palm stump, obliterated and unable to arise in the future. A realized one is freed from reckoning in terms of form. They're deep, immeasurable, and hard to fathom, like the ocean. To say that after death a realized one still exists or no longer exists, or both still exist and no longer exists, or neither still exists nor no longer exists, none of these apply. Any feeling, perception, choices, consciousness by which a realized one might be described has been cut off at the root, made like a palm stump, obliterated and unable to arise in the future. A realized one is freed from reckoning in terms of consciousness. So this is all of the five aggregates: form, feeling, perception, mental formations, and consciousness. They're deep, immeasurable, and hard to fathom, like the ocean. To say that after death a realized one still exists or no longer exists, or both still exists and no longer exists, or neither still exists nor no longer exists, none of these apply. Then King Pasenade approved and agreed with what the nun Kema said. Then he got up from his seat, bowed, and respectfully circled her, keeping her on his right before leaving. Then, on a later occasion, King Pasenade went up to the Buddha, bowed, and sat down to one side. He asked the Buddha exactly the same questions as he had asked nun Kema, and received the same answers. And he said, "It's incredible, sir. It's amazing how the meaning and phrasing of the teacher and the disciple fit together and agree without contradiction when it comes to this chief matter. This one time, I went to the nun Kema and asked her about this matter, and she explained it to me with these words and phrases, just like the Buddha. It's incredible, sir. It's amazing how the meaning and phrasing of the teacher and the disciple fit together and agree without contradiction when it comes to the chief matter. Well, now, sir, I must go. I have many duties and much to do. Please, great king, go at your convenience." Then King Pasenade approved and agreed with what the Buddha said. Then he got up from his seat, bowed, and respectfully circled him, keeping him on his right before leaving. All right. Hard to fathom. And we're going to get pretty much the same thing each time, right? But just in different situations with different people. Now we have essentially the same thing with Anuruddha. And it's going to be similar concepts, but we're not going to read through all of these different ones. The one is a good one. So let's go back to linked. No comments in the chat. People must be totally enthralled with the sutta we just read or have fallen asleep. One or the other. We'll see. All right. So let's do another sutta. A number between 1 and 56. In 3, 2, 1, go. Oh, Rick comes in. So we're on 56. All right. So we got to go all the way to the bottom. Group of linked discourses on the path. Magga. All right. Maggasekha. Nope. All the way down. Satya Samyutta. Linked discourses on the Four Noble Truths. So what do we have here? All right. So this one is a bigger sutta. Is all the Pali text translated? In the previous sutta, I saw a lot of the Pali text with little English above it. What that means is it's repeated. So in the suttas, in the Pali, somebody might say something that's 4 or 5 paragraphs, and then they'll go to somebody else and repeat those same 4 or 5 paragraphs. So they don't necessarily translate always the whole Pali, just so that it doesn't make it longer, that there's not a lot of repetition. So that's what you saw there. You saw much more Pali than you saw English, and that's why. All right, a number between 1 and 80 in 3, 2, 1, go. All right, wait a second. Let me see something here. Hello, Julie. So Rick got the first one, and then Rick got. So we're not going to go with Rick because he got both. Quick draw. So we'll go with Marco. We'll go with number 19. All right. So we see SN 56, 1 to 10. And then the next one, 11 to 20. So Dhammacakkappavattana Vagga means the chapter on the rolling forth the wheel of Dhamma. And here we have the Dhammacakkappavattana Sutta, which if you're with us in Morning Monastery Experience, we're going through this now. But let's see, where are we here? 19, that's right. So did I go past it? Nope, right here, 19. Expressions. Each of the Four Noble Truths has innumerable implications. Let's read. Let's see how long. Pretty short. Mendicants, I've declared this is the noble truth of suffering. And there are limitless explanations, phrases, and expressions about that. This is another way of saying that this is the noble truth of suffering. I've declared that this is the noble truth of the origin of suffering. I've declared that this is the noble truth of the cessation of suffering. I've declared that this is the noble truth of the practice that leads to the cessation of suffering. And there are limitless explanations, phrases, and expressions about that. This is another way of saying that this is the noble truth of the practice that leads to the cessation of suffering. That's why you should practice meditation. So basically what the Buddha is saying is you couldn't just write one huge book and write down every form of dukkha there is. Right? There is just innumerable ways that this can be understood and expressed. That's what this sutta is saying. Let's see what the next one says since we're here. Real. Interesting. Hello, Abby. Good to see you. Hope you're doing well. I know you've been up and down with physical problems these days. I hope you're on the upswing. As they say in the suttas, I hope that pain is seen, not increasing. That your issues are not increasing and diminishing, as opposed to increasing, being seen more. You're still alive. That's very good. That's a good way of putting it. When I'm in my darkest times, when I'm in rough times and people say, "How are you?" I say, "I'm surviving. I'm surviving." You know, that's the best I can say sometimes. But all right. Well, I'm glad to have you on with us. And anytime you're able to come on with us is always appreciated. Good to see you. Let's read about what's real. Mendicants, these four things are real, not unreal, not otherwise. What for? This is suffering. This is the origin of suffering. This is the cessation of suffering. This is the practice that leads to the cessation of suffering. These four things are real, not unreal, not otherwise. That's why you should practice meditation. Let's see. I want to see the Pali. True Tata. Yeah, I thought so real or true is pretty much can be the same thing. Just don't let any philosophers hear that. They might argue differently. Yeah. I was wondering why tata was real. I was like, wait a second, that doesn't. Yeah. All right. I'm going to. Come on. There we go. I'm just going to check my Pali program real quick, see what else comes up with that word. Yep, true, real, the truth. That makes sense considering they're called the Four Noble Truths. I would hope so. All right. That's also a good question. When it says that's why you should practice meditation, what's in there? The word for meditation. So I saw patipada, that's like practice. Yogo, maybe it's yogo. That might be, yeah, karanio is to do something. I don't know that you can translate patipada as meditation, although this is Bhante Sujato, so we'll see. Yeah, way a path of practice. Let me see if I can share this with you guys. So some of you, I have to stop sharing that first. I'm going to show you those of you who are actually interested in Pali lookups. See if I can actually share it. Window. Nope. I guess not. I guess the StreamYard does not recognize it. Oh well. Well, we can actually see that because we can switch to Bhikkhu Bodhi's translation. Let me share this again. Hello, Steve. Welcome. So we are sharing. Go to Bhikkhu Bodhi's actual. Therefore, an exertion should be made to understand this is suffering. An exertion should be made to understand this is the way leading to the cessation of suffering. Yeah, exertion, and we have here, karanio, so to be done, something to be done. So even Bhikkhu Bodhi's is a little, it's not like a direct translation, but it's a, translators sometimes they have to use certain words to understand the gist, not just word for word sometimes. But Patipada is like the path of progress. It's the practice. So the path of practice is to be done. Yeah, yoga is effort, exertion, undertaking, task. One of the many things. Yoga, has a lot of meanings. Six or seven different meanings you can go with yoga. All right. Let's see. Let's do probably one more. A number between 1 and 56 in 3, 2, 1, go. For those of you who are just joining, as we're doing it in the middle of this, we're playing Sutta Roulette. We're choosing random numbers that decide what sutta we're going to read. All right, 34th Samyutta. Actually, let's see. Let's go to the 31st first. So we want to go not quite to the end. Somewhere in the middle. 35. Here we go. 22 to 34. So all the way to the bottom. 34, the linked discourses on jhana. All right. So a number between 1 and 30 in 3, 2, 1, go. Also, do tell me, I do like feedback on this. Tell me if this is something that you find interesting, something that you find boring, etc. JRF comes in with the 22. Oh, look at this. JRF and John chose the same. 3 number 22s. Wow. I guess we should do 22. That's interesting. All right. So let's go to 22. Nineteen, 20. Wait, what? Okay. So this is towards a small sutta. So we're probably going to end up reading all of these. Yeah, this is all going to be. So 8 on remaining and emergence. At Savati, mendicants, there are these for meditators. Okay, so this is going to be confusing here. So what we're going to do is, I think I want to back up a little bit. As an alternative, it could be keywords. Actually, that's kind of interesting. Could be keywords. Although the keywords makes it a little bit more like you know what topic you're gonna get. Although that might still be an interesting thing to do, kind of like an alternate game, not necessarily chat roulette, but something like that. That might be interesting. Like, what's the first thing that pops up in the search? Hmm. All right. So we were doing 22. So this is the problem when you get in the Samyutta Nikaya and the Anguttara Nikaya. Usually, the last third of any grouping of any chapter is lots and lots of these small suttas, remaining and emergence. So I think we should do entering first and then remaining. We actually did this on our the Maggasekha Discord. We went through this section probably about a month or two ago. It's still kind of fresh in my mind. At Savatthi, mendicants, there are these four meditators. What for? One meditator is skilled at entering jhana, but not in doing what is conducive to it. I want to try to find a sutta where they explain all four. Might have to be in the bot all the way up front. Let's see. Entering immersion. Yep, here we go. We'll read this one maybe so that we can understand it a bit better. At Savatthi, mendicants, there are these four meditators. What for? One meditator is skilled in jhana, but not in entering it. One meditator is skilled in jhana, but not skilled in but is skilled. Oh, one meditator is not skilled in jhana, but is skilled in entering it. One meditator is skilled neither in jhana or in entering it. One meditator is skilled both in jhana and in entering it. Well, I guess technically samadhi. I shouldn't say, because this is the Pali word is samadhi here. Although jhana is the pinnacle of samadhi, but I should be saying jhana. That's a bit more accurate. I should be saying samadhi, not jhana. It's a more accurate translation. Of these, the meditator skilled in samadhi and in entering it is the foremost, the best, the chief, the highest, and the finest of the four. From a cow comes milk. From milk comes curds. From curds comes butter. From butter comes ghee. And from ghee comes cream of ghee. And the cream of ghee is said to be the best of these. Cream of ghee is like the top most amazing allowable in the suttas. I've had ghee before, but I've never had cream of ghee. In the same way, the meditator skilled in immersion and entering it is the foremost, best, leading, highest, and finest of the four. It was just explaining four types of meditators and their relationships with developing samadhi. Karuna is having an example of Revocolor's suggestion and saying, I looked up a bunch of suttas based on the word worm today, and it was amazing. That would be interesting if it wasn't something like the keyword is satipatthana. Like if it's something like some kind of weird random word like worm, then that might actually be a fun thing. That might actually be interesting. Why don't we try it? Karuna has a question, but I want to try. I want to do that once, see how that goes, and then we'll do some meditation after that. But how can the first person be skilled in samadhi but not in entering it? Well, it's kind of two different things. You you can kind of like be able to get into samadhi by luck, or not like necessarily luck. You have to set the groundwork for the samadhi to arise, but you just don't know how you do it. You don't know how you set the groundwork. But once you're in samadhi, you're familiar with it and you understand it. But you don't have it, like, you can't just enter it at your whim, right? It's kind of like a struggle to get into it, but once you're there, you're good with it, no problems. That's what I would say in terms of that. No, this is not a silly question. Jareb says, were the bhikkhus ever not satisfied and did not delight in the Buddha's words? Kind of silly question, but I wonder so. Yes. There are examples of people not delighting in the Buddha's words. Usually they are like Brahmins or outside of the Buddhist tradition, like they're not Buddhist monks. Almost always they either rejoice in the Buddha's words or they don't say anything. Like you're not going to see an example of Buddhist monks kind of, being like, whatever. So, but yeah, that's my kind of off the top of my head, what I can recall from all the suttas I've read. And mostly those people who are not going to be delighted in the Buddha's words are going to be people who are not part of the Buddhist tradition. And there's a good amount of that in there. It's quite funny how how often our religious texts have many situations of people not liking what the founder said or trying to refute them or debate them. It's not something you often see. Of course, I mean, let's also be honest. The Buddha pretty much trounces anybody that tries to debate him. So there there can be some motive in that for that to be in there. All right. So let's give it a try. After I say 3, 2, 1, do a random, not Dhamma specific word. Just obviously wholesome, obviously not bad words or naughty things and stuff like that, and also not the and a, or man or woman or whatever. See if 3, 2, 1, type in a word. See what happens. People are thinking about it. It's harder to think of a random word. Guilt. That's interesting. Ribbons. So wow. Well, jackal. Their suit is about the jackal, so that's an easy one. But ribbons is shadow, guilt, ribbons. Actually, I want to check all these out. This is quite interesting. This is already more interesting than I thought it would be. All right, so let's go search. All right, there's a sutta that the Bhante Sujato translates as guilt. The guilty recluse. Guilt. Mendicants, there are these 4 fears. What for? Fears of guilt, shame, punishment, and going to a bad place. And what, mendicants, is the fear of guilt? It's when someone reflects, if I were to do bad things by way of body, speech, and mind, wouldn't I blame myself for my conduct? That's quite interesting, isn't it? It's not about other people. It's about you. It's about your own conscience. Wouldn't I blame myself? Wouldn't my mind upbraid me? Hmm. Being afraid of guilt, they give up bad conduct by way of body, speech, and mind, and develop good conduct by way of body, speech, and mind, keeping themselves pure. That is called fear of guilt. And what, mendicants, is fear of shame? It's when somebody reflects, if I were to do bad things by way of body, speech, and mind, wouldn't others blame me for my conduct? Being afraid of shame. So now we have, um, in relation to other people. Being afraid of shame, they give up bad conduct by way of body, speech, and mind. This is an interesting. Shame has become such a bad word in society that that we never want to shame anybody for anything anymore. And it's sometimes shame is really important. Being afraid of shame, they give up bad conduct by way of body, speech, and mind, develop good conduct by way of body, speech, and mind, keeping themselves pure. This is called fear of shame. And what, mendicants, is fear of punishment? It's when someone sees that the kings have arrested a bandit, a criminal, and subjected them to various punishments: whipping, caning, and clubbing, cutting off hands or feet, or both, cutting off ears or nose, or both, the porridge pot, the shell shave, the Rahu's mouth, the garland of fire, the burning hand, the bulrush twist, the bark dress, the antelope, the meat hook. Now, these are all explained in the commentary. And if you read Bhikkhu Bodhi's translation, like the actual books, he'll have a note where he explains a good number of these, all the like different torture methods. The coins, the caustic pickle, the twisting bar, the straw mat, being splashed with hot oil, being fed to the dogs, being impaled alive, and being beheaded. Just as an aside, the oh wait, oh no, it is sharing, right? Oh no, it's not. Oh, I'm sorry. It went to another. Can I? I guess I can't actually go to. Can it? No, it automatically just goes to the next one. Oh, okay, okay, it's working now. Okay. I went to see the chat and I saw that it wasn't sharing it. Hello, Matthias. All right. Well, one of the things on aside that just as a joke, back we used to have when the Discord was way more active than it is now, and it goes ups and downs. We had 4 mods for a bunch of years: Reed and Adriana, and Shad, and I forgot the. It's off the tip of my tongue. But anyway, as a kind of joke, because we like to make like Sutta memes and Sutta jokes. As a kind of joke, each of us took a punishment that the mod would specialize in from this list. So we even have like little emojis with it too. So if the mod team had to use their mod powers, this special the special punishments would arise. But, Matthias, 3 a.m. stomach flu, a divine messenger. Might as well listen to Dhamma. Yeah, that's the attitude. That's the way to go. So continuing on. They think, if I were to do the same kind of bad deed, the kings would punish me in the same way. Being afraid of punishment, they don't steal the belongings of others. They give up bad conduct by way of body, speech, and mind, and develop good conduct by way of body, speech, and mind, keeping themselves pure. This is called the fear of punishment. And what mendicants is the fear of rebirth in a bad place? It's when somebody reflects bad conduct of body, speech, or mind has a bad result in the next life. If I were to do such bad things, when my body breaks up after death, I'd be reborn in a place of loss, a bad place, the underworld, hell. Being afraid of rebirth in a bad place, they give up bad conduct by way of body, speech, or mind, and develop good conduct by way of body, speech, and mind, keeping themselves pure. This is called the fear of rebirth in a bad place. All right. So I want to do one more. I want to type in a ribbon. We are coming to the point where we need to do our meditation. But these random words. Rick says, what about the sutta where the monks asked the Buddha to leave when they were arguing and not living in harmony? Well, yes, no, that's true. They did not rejoice in the Buddha's words, but he kind of like that wasn't the end of the sutta, right? So it wasn't like no, they were in the midst of their arguing and fighting, and they said, "Don't worry, we're handling this," and then the Buddha just left. So yeah, I mean that's technically an example. But since it's not at the end, it wouldn't naturally flow that they would say. And then they were not delighted in the Buddha's words. Um, all right, so what is it? Ribbons, right? Ribbons. I want, I want to see what comes up with ribbons. Ribbon. Let's see. There was no result for a ribbon. What about ribbons? Ambapali, the famous courtesan. Let's read about Ambapali. This is from the Therigatha. Wow, this is quite long, huh? So this is Ambapali, who was a very famous courtesan, and then became a bhikkhuni. My hair was black as bees, graced with curly tips. Now old, it has become like hemp bark. The word of the truthful one is confirmed. So she's saying, like, basically reflecting, she was very young and very beautiful, very sought after. And now her hair is, she's older. the Buddha, what the Buddha said is right. Crowned with flowers, my head was as fragrant as a perfume box. Now old, it smells like dog fur. The word of the truthful one is confirmed. My hair was as thick as a well-planted forest. It shone parted with brush and pins. Now old, it's patchy and sparse. The word of the truthful one is confirmed. With plates of black and ribbons of gold, it was so pretty, adorned with braids. Now old, my head has gone bald. The word of the truthful one is confirmed. My eyebrows used to look so nice, like crescents painted by an artist. Now old, they droop with wrinkles. The word of the truthful one is confirmed. My eyes shone brilliant as gems, wide and indigo. Ruined by age, they shine no more. The word of the truthful one is confirmed. My nose was like a perfect peak, lovely in my bloom of youth. Now old, it's shriveled like a pepper. The word of the truthful one is confirmed. My earlobes were so pretty, like lovingly crafted bracelets. Now old, they droop with wrinkles. The word of the truthful one is confirmed. My teeth used to be so pretty, bright as a jasmine flower. Now old, they're broken and yellow. The word of the truthful one is confirmed. My singing was sweet as a cuckoo, wandering in the forest groves. Now old, it's patchy and croaking. The word of the truthful one is confirmed. My neck used to be so pretty, like a polished shell of conch. Now old, it's bowed and bent. The word of the truthful one is confirmed. My arms used to be so pretty, like rounded crossbars. With age, they wrinkle and sag like a patala tree. Let's see what the note is. Patala has a characteristic bulging and wrinkly growth beneath the branches. The word of the truthful one is confirmed. My hands used to be so pretty, adorned with lovely golden rings. Now old, they're like red radishes. The word of the truthful one is confirmed. My breasts used to be so pretty, swelling, round, close, and high. Now they droop like water bags. The word of the truthful one is confirmed. My body used to be so pretty, like a polished slab of gold. Now it's covered with fine wrinkles. The word of the truthful one is confirmed. My thighs used to be so pretty, like an elephant's trunk. Now old, they're like bamboo. The word of the truthful one is confirmed. My calves used to be so pretty, adorned with cute golden anklets. Now old, they're like sesame sticks. The word of the truthful one is confirmed. Both my feet used to be so pretty, plump as if with cotton wool. Now old, they're cracked and wrinkly. The word of the truthful one is confirmed. This bag of bones once was such, but now it's withered, home to so much pain. Like a house in decay with plaster crumbling, the word of the truthful one is confirmed. That's really awesome. That's a very powerful, powerful reflection. Kurt says, dogs smell nice though. Uh, I don't know about that. But yeah, as Rick says, depends on what they rolled in. That's very true. I can't say that I've ever thought an animal smelled nice. I don't know. I don't know about that. But all right. Well, it's 8:13. Why don't we do some meditation, and then we'll after that we'll read some Dhammapada, close out for the night. I think is it Revo or is Marco still around, or did he head out? Because it's the middle of the night. One of you, I said to remind me before you left so that I could give you the email to join the Discord. You still here, Marco? Oh, there he goes. All right. So just send an email to that email and ask for a Discord invite, and we'll get you an invite. Anyone in the chat, obviously, if you want to do that, you can. Revo, same thing. Just send an email, ask for an invite, and we'll get you in. All right. Now it's time for meditation. Always want to do even at least a little bit of meditation every Dhammapalooza, so we don't forget the different parts of the practice. Set your body up in whatever comfortable and stable position works for you. We'll spend a little bit of time doing a mindful scan of the body, starting from the feet, moving up to the head, Start by placing your focus on whatever feeling or sensation is arising at the feet, whether that's the feeling of the feet pressing against the floor, the cushion, the opposite leg, etc. Focus in on that feeling. And as we move through the body, pay attention to whatever feeling is arising in the part of the body that you're focusing on. This allows us to bring our mind from the busy external to focusing in on this mind and body, the internal. It also allows us to understand our posture very well and how our posture can cause us pain as we sit for longer periods of time. Move up through the ankles into the calves. Through the knees, into the thighs. What's the feeling of the thighs pressing against the floor, cushion, couch, chair? Up through to the hips and pelvis. When you're observing your posture, always pay very close attention to the position of your hips and pelvis, the balance of your buttocks on the cushion, making sure everything is even. This part of your body can have a great impact on your posture. So pay close attention to this area. When you're ready, move up the spine through the abdomen and the chest, paying close attention to the spine, making sure it's not leaning and slouching here or there, or that you're trying to make it very straight. Both of these things will cause pain and imbalance in your posture over your meditation. Ideally, your spine should just be resting in its natural curvature, supported by the pelvis and the lower body in a stable position. to the shoulders, making sure they're hanging loosely, not scrunched up and tight. Then down through to the elbows and hands, observing how the position of the elbows and hands also impacts your posture. Then finally up to the head, checking that the head is also not leaning and slouching here or there, chin parallel to the floor. When you're done setting up your mind, your body in a comfortable and stable position, let the body go and take 3 deep breaths. And then let the breath go from here on in. Try not to manipulate or control your breath in any way. Your body has been breathing from the moment you were born. Will continue to do so until the second you die. Doesn't need you to do its job. Your job is to simply observe, investigate, and abide with the breath as the body breathes in and the body breathes out. As you're following your breath, your mind will become bored, will run away to the past or the future, to various stories and fantasies, or an external distraction like a sound will arise and your mind will become agitated by it and chase after it. After a time lost in these thought worlds, it will slowly start to dawn on you that you've been taken away from the breath. At that point, acknowledge you've been taken away from the breath. Come back to full focus and mindfulness. Practice letting go of the distraction by neither getting agitated and pushing it away, nor by continuing to be excited and holding on to it. Try to do your best to just let it go, to let it be, to give it no effort, energy, or attention. Let it go on its way, and then return to the breath. So whenever you're distracted away from the breath, acknowledge, let go, and return. Over and over, come back to the breath. Acknowledge, let go, and return. Acknowledge, let go, and return. Slowly start to open your eyes, becoming aware of the room around you, your body's position in it, reflecting on the state of your mind before the meditation and now, and contemplating any experiences that stood out during your practice. It's always good to spend a little bit of time after your meditation doing this. And while you finish up doing that, we can read some Dhammapada. So, Sister Free Spirit, if you're still around, give you the link to the sutta that we just read. It's in the Therigatha. It's with Ambapali. Paste it in the chat. Hola, Jose. Hope you're well. Uh-oh. Okay, just didn't go on Facebook. Don't worry about it, Facebook. All right, so let's share screen, read some Dhammapada, do final business, share merits, and then we'll call it a night. Sukkhavagga. This section of Dhammapada has one of my favorite lines in all of Buddhism. Happy indeed we live, friendly amidst the hostile. Amidst hostile men we dwell, free from hatred. Happy indeed we live, friendly amidst the afflicted by craving. Amidst afflicted men we dwell, free from affliction. Happy indeed we live, free from avarice, amidst the avaricious. Amidst the avaricious men we dwell, free from avarice. And this is the line. Happy indeed we live, we who possess nothing. Feeders on joy we shall be, like the radiant gods. That's my goal. When I think about goals, I want to possess nothing and feed on joy. This sounds like a wonderful existence. Victory begets enmity. The defeated dwell in pain. Happily the peaceful live, discarding both victory and defeat. There is no fire like lust, and no crime like hatred. There's no ill like the aggregates, and no bliss higher than the peace of Nibbana. Hunger is the worst disease, conditioned things the worst suffering. Knowing this as it really is, the wise realize Nibbana, the highest bliss. Health is the most precious gain, and contentment the greatest wealth. A trustworthy person is the best kinsman. Nibbana is the highest bliss. Having savored the taste of solitude and peace of Nibbana, pain-free, stainless he becomes, drinking deep the taste of the bliss of the truth. Good is it to see the noble ones. To live with them is ever blissful. One will always be happy by not encountering fools. Indeed, he who moves in the company of fools grieves for longing. Association with fools is ever painful. Like partnership with an enemy, but association with the wise is happy, like meeting one's own kinsman. Therefore, follow the noble one who is steadfast, wise, learned, dutiful, and devout. One should follow only such a man who is truly good and discerning, even as the moon follows the path of the stars. All right, friends. So we will do our final business and then share merits. Let me break out the banners. So if you're joining us for the first time, either watching it live or later on sometime, and you'd like to find out more information about myself and the organization that I'm building, you can go to the website listed on the screen, maggasekha.org, M-A-G-G-A, which means path, S-A-S-E-K-H-A, which means student, so student of the path. That's the English translation of my organization, Maggasekha. Maggasekha.org. This is my headquarters. Every time I post a new video, post a new article, post retreats. I have 2 retreats coming up, weekend Zoom retreats in February and in March. And I just posted those up on the website. You can find the links to register for those retreats there. Anything that I do, all my travels that I do, I put on the website there. So that's the best place to find out all the information about myself and Maggasekha. On the top right, you can, the top right of that website, you can put in your email and you'll get an email every time I post something new. So you can always be informed. It's similar with the YouTube. You can subscribe to the channel, click on the bell, notifications on, all that, and you'll get an email every time I go live, every time there's a video, etc. So in terms of regular weekly activities, in terms of regular weekly activities, we have, whenever, obviously all activities are subject to my nomad travels. If I'm traveling or if I'm in a place where the schedule conflicts or there's no internet, then the activities don't happen. But when they do happen, this is the normal schedule. Monday nights, we have our Dhammapalooza, like we're just finishing up now, 7 p.m. New York time. Then Monday through Friday at 8 a.m. New York time. So in just about 11 hours or so, I'll be back streaming live on this channel for a morning puja. And so it's about a half-hour session. It's called Morning Monastery Experience. And it emulates the experience of what if you stayed at a monastery, the morning session. So there's a little precepts, a little chanting, little Dhamma learning, give a little Dhamma talk in the morning, these kind of things. So anybody's welcome to join on the live stream, 8 a.m. New York time. We'll be back tomorrow. That's Monday through Friday. Then Saturdays, if you have the Insight Timer app, I'm a teacher on Insight Timer. And so I do a session on Insight Timer every Saturday, 3 p.m. New York time for an hour and a half. So 3 to 4:30, it's meditation, Dhamma talking, Q&A. And then Sunday nights on our Discord, Maggasekha Discord community, our Maggasekha Discord family, we have reading the suttas. For 8 years now, we've been coming together, bhikkhus, bhikkhunis, laymen, laywomen, and reading the suttas together for 8 years. And we do that. We just did that last night, continuing on. So if you'd like to, this community is a community that is based on the early Buddhist texts, both in study and in practice. We study together, we read suttas together, we practice together, and we support each other on our path, like Kalyanamitta should. So if this community sounds like something you might be interested in, you can send an email to the email listed on the screen, maggasekha@gmail.com, and ask for an invite, and we'll make sure you get an invite. And on the Discord every Sunday night at 7 p.m. New York time, we read suttas together as a community. And that's pretty much it in terms of regular activities. So let's share our merits and then close out. Dukkha patta chane dukkha, bhaya patta chane bhaya, sokha patta chane sokha, hontu sabbe pipaniyo, ettavatta cha mehi sampatang punya sampatang, sabbe deva namodantu sabba sampatti siddhya, akasatta chabumata deva naga mahiddhika, punyam tang anamoditva charang rakantu sasanam. May the suffering ones be suffering free, and the fear-struck fearless be. May the grieving shed all grief, and may all beings find relief. May all beings share this merit of ours that we thus acquired for the acquisition of all kinds of happiness. May beings inhabiting space and earth, devas, nagas, and yakas of mighty power, share this merit of ours. May they long protect the Buddhist dispensation. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. All right, friends, we come to the end of another Dhammapalooza. Sukhihotu, which means may you be well and at ease. Practice well and be well. May you have a spiritually successful and peaceful practice until we meet again, which, if I'm alive, could be tomorrow morning for a morning monastery experience, or Saturday in Insight Timer, Sunday on the Discord, or maybe next Monday for another morning monastery experience. Have a good week.